Dear friend, have you ever sat alone on a quiet afternoon and asked yourself, what am I living for? I have, not just once, but many times, especially when I am tired and bored, when I feel like I am living, but I don't know what I am living for. Is this life just going to work, earning money, eating, sleeping, and then it's over? I used to ask that question, and perhaps you have also thought the same thing. Am I living, or just existing? A day passes, then another day. Wake up in the morning, go to work, come home in the afternoon, have a quick meal, turn on the phone, surf a few videos, and then sleep. And so on, day after day. I used to ask, is my life meaningful? Every day I work, eat, sleep, laugh, cry, for what in the end? Then I fell silent. I couldn't answer. And that silence made me start my journey of searching. Is the purpose of life to be successful? I used to think, life is to be successful. I have to earn money. I have to buy a house. I have to be better than others. But then, when I got a few things I wanted, strangely, I didn't feel as happy as I imagined. I asked, so is the purpose of life to be successful, or something else? And I began to realize, success without peace, without loved ones by my side, without gratitude and love, it is just an empty shell. If today were my last day, what would I do? A question that made me more awake than ever was, if today were the last day of my life, what would I do? I wouldn't take on another contract. I will not buy another expensive item. I will call my mother, cook a meal for my family, hug my child longer, say sorry to someone I have hurt, sit quietly under a tree and take a deep breath. At that moment, I understood. The purpose of life is not far away. It lies in the simplest things. Why do I feel heavy-hearted? Even though nothing is too bad? I have everything, but my heart still feels heavy. I often blame myself. Why am I so weak? But then I understand. I am not weak. I just hold on to too many other people's expectations, old mistakes, unforgivable things, and comparisons with others. I learned to let go. Letting go is not giving up. Letting go is letting your hands become lighter. Letting your heart breathe. How can I make my heart lighter every day? I practice doing one thing. Be kind to myself and to others. I say thank you more. I help an elderly person cross the street. I visit my parents more often. I listen to my siblings, instead of arguing. I take care of my grandparents, not out of responsibility, but out of love. Strangely, the more I live for others, the lighter my heart becomes. The more I love, the more I feel loved. Is living for others a disadvantage? I used to be afraid that I would be taken advantage of. Afraid that I would be at a disadvantage. But then I realized, there is no disadvantage when you live kindly from the heart. Because what you give today, one day, will come back to you. In a very special way. Sometimes it is a hug. Sometimes it's a trust. Sometimes it's a peaceful look when you look in the mirror. Goodness doesn't have to be big. Just sincere. Do I need to know what my purpose is? I used to force myself to know. What am I living for? Where am I going? Who am I becoming? But now I understand. The purpose of life doesn't need to be defined immediately. It's not a fixed destination. It's every step you take, when you walk with love, awareness, and gratitude. You don't need to know everything. Just knowing, I lived well today. I didn't hurt anyone. I helped someone. I smiled sincerely. That's meaningful enough. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. You are alive. breathing, present. That's the most precious gift. What have I forgotten in my life? I used to be so busy. So busy that I forgot to eat. Forgot to call my mom. Forgot to ask about a friend I hadn't seen for a long time. And forgot that I was tired. I thought I was living my life to the fullest. But in fact, I was forgetting the most important things. I forgot the presence of my family. My father's worried eyes. My mother's hair growing grayer each day. And the laughter of my grandchildren. There are things that, once lost, cannot be retrieved. There are people who, once gone, never come back. I started to practice stopping. Even just for a little bit. Stop for what? Stop to see more clearly. Stop to not be swept away by the hasty pace of life. Stop to listen to myself. I once asked, if I keep running without knowing why I'm running, is it worth it? And I saw the answer very clearly. No, I need to stop, so as not to lose the meaning of each day. Where is the meaning in the small things? I used to think that I had to do something big to have meaning. But later, I understood. The meaning lies in the small, very ordinary things. Bringing a glass of water to my grandfather. Cooking a simple meal for the whole family to eat together. Holding my mother's hand while walking. Video calling my sister to ask how she was. Sending a message. How are you today? We don't need to do big things to live a purposeful life. We just need to live with a heart. Why do I always feel like I lack something, even though I have a lot? Sometimes I think, just a little more money, more house, more loved ones, but when I have it, I feel still not enough. And I ask myself, am I really lacking, or am I just lacking gratitude? I started to write down 3 things to be grateful for every morning. Spend 1 minute before going to bed to think about the good things in the day. Smile at the people you meet. Be grateful even for the things that don't go as planned. From then on, my heart lacked less, and my heart gradually became fuller. Does being grateful make life better? Many times I found myself sad, not because of lack, but because of forgetfulness. When I am grateful, every meal becomes more delicious. Every hug becomes warmer. Every word becomes softer, and every moment becomes precious. A person with a grateful heart feels at peace wherever he goes. Being grateful doesn't change the situation, but it changes the heart I carry in that situation. Why do I feel more lonely as I get older? I don't know if you're like me. The older I get, the fewer friends I have, the more roles I have. The more burdens I have to carry. And sometimes, the more alone I feel. I used to blame why no one understands me. But then I learned to ask again. Do I really understand others? I started listening more. I no longer want to win in every conversation. I want to understand each other. Not to compete or lose. From then on, I no longer feel lonely like before. Because when I connect with my heart, I will always have a place to return to. In the love I give, can I start over, no matter how old I am? I used to think, it's too late, why change now? But then I saw, every morning I open my eyes. Breathe, it's a new opportunity to live differently. I saw a 70-year-old man learning to draw. An 80-year-old man practicing yoga. A 60-year-old woman learning to use the phone to video call her grandchild. I smiled, and I understood. It's never too late to live a new life. If you live for others, who will live for you? A very practical question. I used to think so. But then I realized, when I live for others, it's not that I forget myself. I'm actually nourishing my heart with beautiful things. And one day, when I fall down tired, the people I used to love will be the place I lean on. You are the place others come to when they need you. And also the place you return to when you need to be understood. Pause, breathe slowly, close your eyes, smile. Are you still here? If you can still hear, then I know, inside you, there is also a soul quietly searching for the light. Am I living true to myself? For a while, I lived like someone else, saying what people wanted to hear, doing what people expected, hiding my true feelings for fear of being judged. I felt tired, but I didn't dare admit it. Until one day, I asked, am I really living true to myself? And the answer was, no. Since then, I have practiced living a little more truthfully, saying what I want to say, but gently, refusing when I can't, but sincerely, accepting that I am not perfect, but trying every day. Living true to myself, it doesn't mean being selfish. It means living truthfully, so that my heart doesn't have to struggle anymore. Does forgiveness really make me feel lighter? I used to carry a lot of resentment in my heart. My family has hurt me. My friends have turned their backs on me. There are words I remember for many years. I used to think forgiveness is weakness. But then I asked again. I hold anger in my heart. Who is the most tired in the end? I understood. It's not the other person. It's me. And I practice forgiveness, not because the other person deserves it, but because I deserve peace. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is not letting pain control you anymore. Am I loving the right way? I used to love the way I thought was right. Worrying a lot, doing everything for you, sacrificing to the point where I have nothing left. But then I asked, is that love or control? I started to learn how to love again. Love without binding. Love without imposing. Help without making the other person lose the ability to stand up on their own. Because true love, it's not about taking everything for yourself, but about helping each other grow in freedom and trust. Am I taking care of my loved ones enough? The question that slowed me down the most. I remember one time, my mother called. I said, I'm very busy. Let's talk tomorrow. But that tomorrow never came. Because the next day my mother was hospitalized. I cried, not because of anything big, but because I didn't spend just a few minutes with the person who always watched over me. From that day on, I didn't let tomorrow ruin today anymore. I practice calling home often, visiting parents more often, listening without interrupting, caring without waiting for reminders. Because parents are not with us forever. But every act of love we sow today will become warm memories in our lives in the future. How to live up to the filial duty. I once asked, what is filial duty? Is it providing money? Is it taking care of parents when they are old and weak? I thought again, the filial duty, first of all, is being present, is listening, is understanding, is not causing parents to be sad because of things we can avoid. I see. When I ask my mother, did you sleep well? When I remind my father to take his medicine. When I take the initiative to wash the dishes for my mother. When I sit next to my father. Doing nothing, just sitting. Those things are filial duty. No need for grand filial piety. Just live each day with sincere filial piety. Am I doing something to help my brothers and sisters? We grow up, each of us goes our separate ways. Work, family, responsibilities, the distance gradually widens. I used to think, everyone has their own life. No need to help each other anymore. But then one day, my brother got sick. I was by his side, holding his hand, and I understood. The brotherly love is not lost. It's just that sometimes we forget to take care of each other. I started to care again, sending greetings every week, helping my brothers and sisters when they are in trouble, listening when they can't talk to anyone else, and most of all, not keeping small old stories in my heart. Helping my brothers and sisters is helping my own roots. What can I do to help people, even if I don't have much money? I used to think, you have to have money to help anyone. But then I realized, you don't need to be rich to live a good life. I can smile at strangers, give up my seat on the bus, say something nice when someone else is tired, hold a crying friend's hand, teach a neighbor's child to study, clean up for grandparents. Simply, don't judge anyone. I see, doing good deeds is something anyone can start. Today, doing good deeds is the ticket to bring our hearts to a peaceful harbor. Have I really lived, or am I just waiting for a better day? A question that touches my heart deeply, because I used to live like, when I'm no longer busy, I will live properly. When I have money, I will help others. When I'm healthy again, I will love myself more. But then, that day has never come. And I realized, if I don't live each day to the fullest, then my whole life is just days of waiting. I started to live differently. Be grateful for the present. Love those close to me. Do small good deeds. And every night, sleep with a soul without regrets. Pause for a moment. You are listening. And I am here with you. If you are still listening now, then I believe, in you, there is also a beautiful heart. A heart that wants to live meaningfully. Why do I feel more and more empty in a fast-paced society? I used to think, I just need to be successful. Just need to earn a lot of money. Have a house, a car, have a position in society. And I will feel happy and peaceful. But then when I have a little, I feel my heart is still unstable. Still lonely. Still like there is a void that cannot be filled with money or fame. And I wonder, is it possible that peace is not in where we go, but in how we go? How to keep a peaceful mind in a world full of turmoil? I began to learn how to return to my breath, slow down when things were too fast, sit still when my heart was in turmoil, and practice letting go of things I couldn't control. I practiced living more simply, with less needs, with less expectations, with less comparisons, because the less things to hold on to, the lighter the mind, and the easier it was to be at peace. Can I find joy, even in the little things? I used to think, joy must be something big. Traveling far away, buying expensive things, doing great things. But gradually I realized, true joy is waking up every morning, still hearing the birds chirping, still seeing my loved ones smile, still having hands to work, still having a heart to love. I feel happy when washing dishes for my mother, when peeling fruit for my grandmother, when sitting drinking tea with my father, when listening to my younger sibling telling random stories. Joy is not far away. It lies in every moment, if we are calm enough to realize it. Have I ever accepted myself? I used to hate myself for my past mistakes, for my imperfections, for the things I saw in others that I didn't have. I used to force myself to be like this or that person. I used to be tired of not being up to someone's expectations. But then I suddenly asked, in this world, is anyone the same as anyone else? I started to learn to accept. I am a unique version of myself, with strengths, and also with dark corners. I no longer blame myself, but started to listen, embrace, and be patient with myself. If I ever fell, is it okay? It's okay, because I'm human. Everyone has fallen. Everyone has been weak. The important thing is whether I can stand up. And after that fall, have I learned anything? I understand that falling down is not scary. It's just that my heart doesn't want to move on. And every time I stand up, I find myself a little stronger, understanding life a little more, and loving people more than before. Can I sow good deeds every day? Even if it's just a little? Yes. Even though I don't have much money. Even though I'm not a good person. I can still help an old person cross the street. Pick up trash in the park. Buy a loaf of bread for a homeless person. Share a meal with a friend in need. Say a word of encouragement when someone is sad. Or simply, don't hurt anyone with words. I believe every kind act one do today will be a good seed for tomorrow. As a saying I once read, when a flower blooms, it doesn't need to say anything. Just blooming is enough to beautify life. Am I living, or just existing? A question that startled me. There were many days I woke up just to work, to eat, to get through the meal, to wait for the end of the week, to wait for the end of the month, to wait for a holiday, and so on. My whole life was just days of waiting, until I asked myself, so what am I living for today? I started to practice living with purpose, doing something out of love, calling someone out of concern, cleaning the room out of a desire for peace, writing a few lines in my diary to understand myself better. I see, only when I live mindfully every day, then this life is truly mine. You see, this life is busy, but if we know how to stop a little, listen to ourselves a little, love a little more, help others a little more, then our hearts will be less heavy, and this life will be less lonely. A peaceful soul is the abode of happiness. An old saying that is not clear who said it, but it is very true. Have I ever loved enough? I used to think, love is something big, must do big things, must show it clearly, but the older I get, the more I understand that true love is when I am patient enough to listen to someone, is when I don't say things that hurt others, is when I am willing to take a step back, just to keep a relationship. Love sometimes doesn't need to be said, just need to be present, gentle enough, kind enough. Why are there relatives that I get angry with the most? I used to find myself often annoyed with the people I love the most, like my parents, siblings, family members, sometimes just because of a sentence. I get angry all day, sometimes because of a small thing. I forget about long-standing feelings. I wonder, is it because I am too secure thinking that they will always be there? So I forgot to cherish? I started practicing saying thank you more, saying sorry when needed, saying, I love you, Dad. Thank you, Mom, for the meal. Sister, rest early. Are you sad? Such small things, but maintaining a close relationship for a long time. When I help others, what do I get in return? I used to think that helping others was a disadvantage, wasting time, wasting trouble, but then one time, I took an elderly person who had lost her way home. On the way, she told an old story and smiled with all her eyes. I felt strangely warm. From then on, every time I did something good, even if it was small, I didn't feel any loss, but felt that my life had a little more light. It turns out that when we help others get through the darkness, the light also shines into your own heart. How to love without expecting anything. I used to be disappointed when I was kind but not reciprocated. when I was sincere but others were indifferent. I used to blame. Why are people so heartless? Why doesn't anyone understand me? Then I read a sentence. Very light. That awakened me. Love is to give, not to ask for anything in return. From then on, I practiced loving without counting, helping without calculating, being good to someone without expecting them to remember forever. Not because I am noble, but because I know, what I give today, is what I keep in my soul. When my heart is misunderstood, what should I do? I used to be very hurt. When others did not understand my heart. When they misjudged what I did. And said hurtful words. I wanted to explain, wanted to prove myself right. But the more I explained, the more tired I became. Until one day, I learned to be silent. Not because I was wrong, but because I understood. There are things only time can clarify. I practiced keeping my heart pure. What should be done is still do. What you don't need to keep, then let go. Because as the ancients said, birds don't need to explain why they fly. Those who understand will understand. Those who don't understand, no matter how many times you say it, you can't change their hearts. Am I letting go or giving up? There are times when I want to stop everything. Want to give up everything. Want to let go of even the relationships that are making me tired. I always think that is letting go. Is freedom. But then I look back. Letting go is when I let go of things that are not needed. But still keep the important things. And giving up is when I also let go of things that are worth keeping. Therefore, before each time I want to let go, I ask myself, am I tired or disoriented? Do I need to rest or stop? The real answer is always inside me. Life, this, after all, is not to prove that I am better than anyone else, but to learn to understand myself better, to love others more, and to live a more peaceful life. A calm mind, everything will be at peace. A saying I always keep in mind every day. If you want me to continue part 6, with deeper questions like, have I forgiven myself? What makes me most grateful? How to live without regrets? Finally, my purpose in life is no longer something too far away. No need to become someone extraordinary. No need to achieve anything resounding. Just every day, I live well with myself. Be kind to my loved ones. Help whoever I can. Share something good I can. As long as I keep my heart pure. No matter what the world is like out there, inside me is still a peaceful sky. I understand that happiness is not the destination, but every step I take, every thought I make, every action I do today. If you are looking for a path, start where you stand, with a kind heart and a listening soul. Being a kind person may not change the world, but will definitely ease someone's life. If these shares bring you some peace, help you feel lighter, or simply have one more reason to smile today, then please subscribe to the channel to continue spreading good things with me, so that every day we grow together in peace and love. Thank you very much for listening until the last minute. See you on the next peaceful journey.